Good evening, everybody.
What's up? What's up?
Back. I've been on a social media hiatus for a couple of days. Tommy's been holding it down for a couple of weeks. Tommy and our new co-host Gabe's been killing it. But tonight, I am joined by longtime friend Jack from New Jersey. Jack, how are you today?
Right, everybody's going to get assaulted with all kinds of accents today.
Oh man, I'm glad that you hop on tonight. We've talked about this for a little while. I felt the pay-per-view post show would be the perfect spot to get you on, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, dude, thank you for asking me, bro. We've been talking about this forever.
We already have a comment. Full Gear was an awesome show by Dave Smith. He is watching. Dave, we got a show for you, man. Full Gear was awesome, but
I got some gripes.
I have some gripes too. Let's talk about that before we go into the full review. There was something that I didn't like about the show, and maybe you might agree with me, maybe not. Okay. But this is something WWE does well, and AEW does not do well.
Right.
Last night, watching the pay-per-view, it went from match to match to match. There was no builds, no backstage segments. If I am a fan watching this pay-per-view, and maybe if I missed for a couple of weeks or I'm watching for the first time, why should I be invested into these matches if I don't know what's going on and what they're fighting over and what they're fighting about?
Exactly.
So this is something AEW did very wrong last night. In fact, they should have taken out 2 or 3 matches.
Yeah, there were a few matches that I was just like, this doesn't need to be here.
Shorten the pay-per-view up and tell more of a story in between the matches. And I think that's something that WWE does a lot better.
Yeah.
Listen, we got the wrestling. Which is fine.
Yeah.
That's what WWE fans complain about. We got the wrestling. Right. But a little lack of storytelling in between matches. That's one of my big gripes. Jack, what is something that you did not like before we talk about all the positives?
All right. Well, so like you said, like there was no, like, this is why we're here for this match that we're going to show you right now. So anybody who, like you're saying, they're not familiar, or friends like, hey, come check this out. Like, it's something different. You're going to like it. They're going to sit there going, all right, what am I watching? There was nothing. But I'm being fickle about it because I think WWE overdoes that stuff. Like, their intro packages for each matches are way too long. But then AEW does next to nothing, if anything at all. So I'm just being picky right there.
Yeah.
But AEW did nothing at all. So to that point, yeah, I'm like, you got to give something to for why we're here. Because if people aren't going to care why they're watching it, it doesn't matter how great the match is. You're going to forget about it when the next match starts. Things that I didn't think plenty didn't belong there, like the Cody Rhodes Pac, Black, and Andrade match, had absolutely no purpose. It served nothing. If it pushed no storyline along, it felt like just a 4-way dance, but 2 guys liked each other more than the other 2 guys. It didn't feel like a tag match, and it was just the whole stupid, are they going to coexist? Like, we get that stupid angle every week now, it seems. And Cody Rhodes is turning into Roman Reigns circa, 2018, 2017, where no matter what they do, he's getting booed out of the house. Cody Rhodes is getting booed out of the house everywhere he goes now. And I think it was the last promo he did on Dynamite, he said he's not going to turn. He refuses to turn. And that just made the whole thing just fall completely flat, because now you've got this heel team that you want people to boo. They like Cody. It's supposed to be like the face of it all. And it just all felt so confusing. And there was no, why are we doing this? Cody and Aleister already settled their beef when they had that one-on-one match. Cody won. Okay, we're done here. But what are we going after now? So that whole tag match was just a complete waste to me. And it felt like, why? It felt like they're just trying to cram so many names into the show. And it felt overinflated. It's just, I don't know. That was my biggest gripe about it. I was just sitting there going, why am I watching this?
There are a couple matches that could have been TV matches.
Oh, absolutely.
You didn't need that many matches on the card.
No. You could have had backstage segments. You could have had in-ring promos. You could have very easily gotten rid of that tag match and had an in-ring promo with Paige. How you feeling about tonight? This is the big night that we've been building towards. You've been through all this. Nothing. Like, I get you want to save that big pop for when Paige comes out for the match, but it's like, come on. You could have like fed something, anticipate something, or you could have had that in-ring promo where they threw like a last-minute monkey wrench into the match to make you feel like, all right, how's Paige going to get through this now? Because AEW did a great job of promoting this match, but they also did a great job of making you realize there's no way in hell Paige is not winning this match. And I feel 110% he should have lost that match. And I have a very good reason why, but we could touch on that when we actually talk about the match later on.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, so much stuff could have been saved for Dynamite or Rampage or wait until Wednesday for the after show.
AEW did a good job building throughout the past few weeks.
Yeah,
you kind of had an idea. We knew they've been building this up to this Paige Omega moment for well over a year now. Even Stevie Wonder saw it coming that Paige was gonna get a title match eventually and win. But I digress with that. But
everybody knew Paige was going to win that belt. As soon as Paige lost to Jericho, everybody knew Paige was getting that title.
Yeah.
Everybody knew it because they built that up so big that you had absolutely no doubt in your mind that Paige was going to beat Jericho. How are you going to give your first world title to a WWE guy? You can't do that. No. And then they did it. No, Paige's definitely winning now because our guy got screwed over by their guy.
The build leading up to this pay-per-view was fine. I have no problem with the build, but too much on the card.
Yep.
Like I said, they could have taken 2 or 3 matches out and then just built this thing a little bit better for sure. Give me a reason why I'm watching this.
Yeah, it was all steak, no sizzle.
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine who's watched AEW pay-per-view for the first time, and I didn't really go in depth with him talking about the pay-per-view. He thought it was a decent show, but I guarantee you he probably wouldn't know why that some of these matches were happening because there was no recaps, nothing.
It was pretty much I'm gonna get hell for saying it, but it was a glorified indie show. Yeah, you don't get that kind of stuff at an indie show. It's just match.
Yeah,
that's what Full Gear was. Great matches. Not taking away from that.
For sure,
phenomenal matches.
Yeah,
but it was a very expensive indie show.
Yeah. Well, that being said, we're going to talk about the card a little bit. We'll run through the beginning of the card. We'll save the best for last because that AEW did save the best for last night with Omega Paige. We'll get to that in a couple of minutes. But for those of you guys that are watching, please give us a share. We are the Deep Six Pro Wrestling Podcast presenting the aftermath to you guys tonight. Make sure you subscribed on YouTube, Twitter. We're also available on iTunes, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Make sure you send this to your friends, your wrestling fan friends, and let them know that we're here each and every single week reviewing the week that was and pay-per-views, pre-shows, prediction shows, post-shows, whatever. We got it for you. But moving on, we have Darby Allen versus MJF as the first match, and Darby Allen had a pretty interesting Titantron. I guess I could still use the Titantron segment with the car and crashing with MJF in the car with the guy wearing a mask and that burning down. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Why?
Yeah, we saw a pretty decent match there.
Match was great. What the hell was that? 3-4 minutes, however long that was. What is this?
It was weird.
It didn't even bleed into a special entrance. He could have crashed the car into the stage area as part of this entrance, which still wouldn't have made a lick of sense to me. But at least it could have had some kind of cohesion, but I'm just like, what? Like, okay, sure. But no, the match was great. They worked really well together, and I like that the background story of it that MJF laid out in one of his promos, where he said that himself, Darby, Jungle Boy, and Sammy Guevara are the 4 pillars of AEW. They're like the 4 homegrown guys that are going to be the future of the company, and that MJF already beat Jungle Boy. He already beat Sammy Guevara. He only had Darby Allen left to prove that he was the best of those 4 pillars of AEW's homegrown. And it just seemed like that was a really good story that was touched on. It was mentioned, but it wasn't really made the focus of it. Because that seemed like a good reason to have this fight. But it was just, I'm going to beat you. I'm in your head. Because so it just kind of made it feel flat as to why they're doing this. Even though they talked about it, they really should have made it the main focus of why they're having the match, because it definitely didn't seem like it was planned for MJF to go from Jungle Boy to Sammy to Darby because of what he said, because he said that promo after those other 2 matches. So it was a story that was built on its own organically right there, and it would have made the match that much better because I would have cared about, okay, wow, Darby's on this meteoric rise. MJF is MJF, probably the top heel in the entire industry right now, above everybody. So it really would have made it more interesting about who is the top pillar for the best AEW homegrown guy. But the 2 of them put on a phenomenal show. They beat the hell out of each other.
MJF garnished some good heat last night.
Yeah. Come on, he can garnish good heat by not even opening his mouth.
Listen, he's making me as a Long Islander and all the other Long Islanders look bad. People are probably thinking that this is how Long Islanders really act.
Well, yeah, that's more like Staten Island now.
Yeah,
it's got the wrong island.
But good heel.
Absolutely,
he's
top heel.
He's one of the best in the business right now.
I wouldn't even say one of. I would say he's the best heel in the business right now. That guy gets more heat than anybody.
We see Wardlow and Spears come to the ring with a chair. Sting puts a stop to that with the bat. But then we see MJF punch Darby Allen with the brass knucks while the referee Bryce Remsburg is distracted by putting back Darby Allen's skateboard. And then MJF beats Darby Allen with the headlock takeover, something he predicted earlier that night or beforehand.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
The way they laid that out.
That was absolutely perfect. Because it made MJF make Darby look like such a nothing, which is what he said he was going to do to him. Because how do you beat by a headlock takeover? I mean, if you could beat by that, it'd be nothing. That's exactly what he made Darby look like.
It was protected, though. It was protected because of the knockout. Thank God.
It was. Yeah. And it was pretty slick, even though I wish they would have shown it a little bit better. It made it more clear that he pulled out the ring, put it on, and then cracked them. But, I mean, the implication was there. You knew what he was doing. I just wish it was a little more visual. But I thought it was phenomenal. And it was a great setup with MJF bringing the skateboard in, goading him to hit him. And then, causing the referee to have to get rid of it. It was a perfect setup to get home, and then just twisting that knife, doing the headlock takeover. It was perfect. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And then that crowd was just ready to light that place on fire. The Sting stuff on the ramp with Spears and Wardlow felt weird. And you tell me if you noticed this too. Like, Sting comes out with his bat, coming after. First of all, you don't even see him hit Wardlow. Like they cut to Spears walking down the ramp. Sting catches up with him, whacks him in the chair, like he's holding the chair like this. He whacks him with the bat into the chair, so he doesn't really hit Shawn, but Shawn still sells it. Then he goes back to Wardlow, who's
I saw that.
And I'm like, oh wait, Wardlow's. I'm like, who's that? Oh wait, that's Wardlow. Oh wait, why is Wardlow dead? You didn't see any of this. No. So I was like really like confused for a second. But the thing that really just like totally disconnected me was Sting hit Wardlow. He went to go back to Spears. He puts his bat down, picks up the chair, hits Spears with the chair a couple of times, puts the chair down, picks up his bat, goes back, and then hits Wardlow again. What was all that? Like, you had the bat in your hand already. The bat is your thing for, 20 years now? The bat's been your thing.
Yeah.
Just smack Spears with the bat. He's down. Okay, cool. Go back over. Whack Wardlow again. He's getting back up. Good. Okay, great. What was this whole fumbling back and forth with like the chair and the bat? What are you doing?
I did notice that.
What is that? Like, it just totally like just out of all the things that I was enjoying in the match, and then they completely like cut that away. Like, didn't even do like a picture in picture.
Yeah.
And I'm just watching this like fumbling. I'm like, what's happening? Thank God, like there was enough left in the match that it got me back in. But if I could have done with that entire thing, I could have done completely without it. It would have been so much better if you would have seen like a backstage cut of the Pinnacle's dressing room, and Sting just wedged his bat in the door handle, keeping the door shut. And they're like trying to like bang on the door and kick the door open. You hear all the ruckus back there. And what the hell? And you just see Sting standing out in front of the locker room, just leaning up against the wall, just, whatever, or however he wants to do it. And then, cool. Because that'll explain why no Pinnacle's coming out to help him. But that the whole thing was a cluster. But
that actually would have been pretty cool if they did that.
It would have been so much better. It would have made a lot more sense. It wouldn't have made Wardlow and Spears look weak by just getting beat up by a 60-year-old guy. Like, Sting, love Sting, legend, blah, blah, blah. But you're going to tell me Wardlow is going to get beaten up by a 60-year-old guy? No. But that would have been a way more better segment to show that. But they did what they did.
Yeah. So MJF gets the win. I think moving on from here, guaranteed, MJF is going to be running his mouth as usual. Win or lose, he's running in his mouth this Wednesday on Dynamite. This feud's not over. No. It's definitely not over. I think we're going to get into, I think AEW is going to run into some 50-50 booking here like WWE does, and Darby Allen will get his win eventually.
Yeah, they'll go to a rubber match.
Yeah.
Some kind of a stiff match.
So we had the next match that we had after that, FTR versus the Lucha Bros. Lucha Bros defending the AEW Tag Titles last night. This was a really good match. I really enjoyed the action here.
Yeah, they have a really oddly good chemistry for being completely different teams, like totally. Yeah, and I was like, felt that for what they were doing in the AAA title match, I was like, wow, this is fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, great match. I was actually I was at All Out in Chicago when we saw Lucha Bros versus Young Bucks in the cage. That was phenomenal. FTR, let me tell you, they tell such a good story. Great heel. Just their movements in the ring and also just telling the story when they were putting the masks on. To try to get a Cash. We see Cash Wheeler trying to steal a win by putting a mask on, so the referee can mistake the guys in there. So Cash Wheeler would have been the illegal man. Turns out the referee didn't catch that. Lucha Bros get the win. It would have been too soon, in my opinion, for Lucha Bros to lose the tag titles here. But I guarantee you, FTR is going to be coming out on Wednesday for sure, demanding a rematch, saying that the wrong person got pinned, illegal man. That's happening. What do you think, Jack? What did you think about all that?
That's probably what is going to happen, but I wish it didn't have. Better way the match would have ended, because Penta pins him, pulls off the mask right there. So the ref sees that's the wrong guy. You see Tully Blanchard. It's the wrong guy. It's the wrong guy. He's right here. It's the wrong guy. The ref's like, oh, well, too late. Like, well, no, it's not. Because how many times in wrestling have we seen them go, oh, wait, crap. I mean, hold on.
Restart.
Right, exactly. And as soon as that happened and they took the mask off, I said to myself, they're going to restart the match. Now, that doesn't mean that FTR had to win. But it's like, okay, well, it's right there. Restart the match, because the finish that did happen was so flat. It was just And it wasn't even like they did it on somebody who's already been beat up. He was fresh. So it's like, okay, well, if you got a fresh guy, you put one move on him, it wasn't even like your finisher or anything special. What was that? It definitely should have been restarted. And it could have been a quick restart too. It could have been like a 30-second bing, bang, boom, you're home.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like oh, okay, too bad. It's like, no, it doesn't make sense. There wasn't consistency with how many times we've seen the match get restarted because the referee didn't catch something that was right in front of their face.
Yeah.
But you're right, though. They're probably just going to come on Wednesday night and be like, no, the wrong guy was pinned. We got to do this. And they'll probably have like a winner-take-all thing.
That's probably happening. Depending when that happens, if that match happens later than sooner, I would expect FTR to get those belts.
I mean, with them not doing monthly pay-per-views, it'll probably be something like the TBS debut, maybe.
Yeah, because the next pay-per-view is until I think Revolution sometime in January.
Yeah, they're done with pay-per-views.
January, February.
Yeah, they're all done with pay-per-views for the year. So yeah, and I don't see why FTR would need to have those AAA titles at all for that period of time. Yeah, take them away from Lucha Brothers to kind of have a reason, but they don't need to have them for months on end. Do it on the TBS debut. Get your eyes on the new network change. It'll be a good reason, and then you can do a winner take all.
That very well could happen.
Yeah, and give it back to the Lucha Bros, and then the next pay per view, if you want to then do an AEW tag title swap, you can do it there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, by then it'll be about 6 months removed from close to 6 months removed from All Out. So I'd be open to a tag title change.
Yeah, I mean, and plus it'll be a good reason to give FTR more heat because they'll be the first. They would be the first 2-time AEW tag team champions.
Yeah.
So for them to be able to do that, and then also have the accolade of being the first NXT tag team champions, having it more than once. So that's just something that they could just keep on, like, just drilling that about why they're supposed to be the best tag team. Which, by the way, I love their reboot with like the remix of the Midnight Express theme and the outfit changes. Absolutely love it. Totally love them 10 times better now.
Yeah, listen, it gives them something to do. It gives them a little character as well.
And it really drives home what they were trying to do in WWE as being like, we're like wrestlers tag team, and doing it this way, coming out to one of the most successful tag team of all time, coming out to their music, managed by somebody who was in one of the most successful tag teams of all time. It's like they're doing exactly what they were trying to do this whole time, and it's making a lot more sense now.
Let me tell you, FTR has come a long way since they debuted as the Mechanics in NXT.
Yikes! Yeah, they were doomed from the start in New York. So they were doomed from the start.
We have Bryan Danielson versus Miro. I'm still trying to get used to saying Bryan Danielson after saying Daniel Bryan for well over 10 years.
So was JR. He said it 4 times in a row.
Yep. I caught it at least once.
At the last time he said it, there was like a pause. Like the whole desk was like at a pause. And then you hear him go, Bryan Danielson.
Yeah.
I was like, every time he said it, like, you did it wrong. You did it wrong. Still doing it wrong. JR. Come on.
JR has made quite a bit of mistakes on that table lately.
God. Like I can imagine Tony Khan in his ear going, Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, I could see that.
Oh my God.
How do
you get sued?
Yeah.
Stop.
How do you feel about Bryan Danielson's run before we talk about the match?
I like that they didn't just throw him into the title mix.
Yeah.
Thank God. I like that he's been putting on real rough, stiff matches. Especially, and just like this one with Miro, like the two of them just beat the hell out of each other. They put on a real good clinic. And it really let everybody see how really good Miro is. Because that guy can go and he can hit and he can just keep on coming. And to be able to hold it with somebody like Bryan, it's like, you have to have something special. But yeah, Miro really showed everybody that he's a big deal and not just this brawly dude that could just beat people up and not have any something behind it. He like what he did last night should have been what Rusev was this whole time. So he definitely did phenomenal, and I'm pretty sure Brian kind of carried him through most of that. But yeah, that was probably one of my favorite matches of the night was those two. And they had oddly good chemistry.
So this is another one of those matches where I'm like, all right, I wonder what's gonna happen. I wonder who's gonna show up. And throughout the whole night, I'm wondering what's gonna happen tonight. Is this gonna be all wrestling? Is there anything big gonna happen? So again, this is one of those matches where I thought Miro's wife was gonna show up, formerly known as Lana. I think she'd come out probably as CJ Perry. I thought she was going to show up, maybe cost Daniel Bryan the match, just so Daniel Bryan
just did lose. It. You just called him Daniel Bryan. So you did it too.
I did it too. Hey, listen, I've actually been on record for calling MJF Miz by accident because the two remind me so much of each other. But anyhow, I was expecting Bryan Danielson to lose due to interference and have Miro be propelled to possibly be the contender of Adam Page. But so this had me thinking when Bryan Danielson won, I'm like, okay, this Miro's been referring to his wife every single week. So I thought she was going to come out here. Didn't happen. Bryan Danielson gets the win, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But then halfway through the pay-per-view, I'm like, all right, it had the wheels turning a little bit regarding the main event, which we'll get to in a little bit. But yeah, we see Daniel Bryan, a new number one contender, defeating Miro. Daniel Bryan wins. Bryan Danielson wins with a DDT, followed by the sleeper
3 times.
Yep.
Now you're tied for
and
JR.
You know what? I actually have it in my notes right there.
You're tied with JR, and you're still reading it. God.
Oh man, but yeah, Bryan loses, wins, so he'll be the new number one contender. When we get that match, I would assume, like we talked about, the TBS debut could be a very good spot for that.
That might be too soon, though.
Yeah, or the next pay-per-view. They got a little time to build. Yeah. So we'll find out. I mean, who knows? Dynamite, Tony Khan will probably just be like, let's just make a special Dynamite or something. So, I mean, it could be something along those lines.
They might also have another Grand Slam coming up.
Oh, really?
They're going around the East Coast again in January, because I know they're doing Newark again in early January. So and I know they said they wanted to do another Grand Slam at Arthur Ashe.
Wow.
So that's probably going to be where they'll throw the Daniel Bryan, Adam Page thing out there.
That'd be good. Yeah, they're definitely going to save that for sure.
Yeah. Because the TBS debut is going to be a big show.
Yeah.
The next Grand Slam will be a big show. That'll carry you over to your next pay-per-view. Provided they haven't announced a Grand Slam, but I would be shocked if they didn't put one in between.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
That Grand Slam show was awesome, by the way.
Oh yeah.
That was pay-per-view caliber.
Absolutely. 110% pay-per-view quality.
How do you feel about Adam Cole's run so far? I know it's only been about not even 3 months, but how do you feel about his run so far?
It feels so much more natural. It feels like like you got these. All right, perfect. You got a pair of shoes, right? And you put the right shoe on the left foot. Then you finally put it on the right foot, and you're like, oh, that fits better. Like these, J's are fly shoes. They're $300 shoes. They look great. Oh my God, but it doesn't feel right. Hold on, I got it on the wrong foot. Put it on the right foot, and you're like, oh, that's so much better. And that's how I feel like with Adam Cole is going from NXT to where he is now, especially with the history that he's had with the Elite for how many years now, through Ring of Honor, New Japan, Bullet Club, all that. It's like, why were you in NXT in the first place?
You did phenomenal there.
Hey, look, his run there by himself, UE, the whole thing, phenomenal. Those guys did great. I love the fact that they actually let them be together. Like, hey, look, we got this great stable of Ring of Honor guys that are coming in together. Keep them together. It was phenomenal. Fantastic. They were top of the food chain for what, 3 years? 3 out of the 4 years?
Yes, basically since 2017, halfway through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like as soon as the group split and it was known that contracts were running out, I was like, they're done. They're out. I know he wants to be out. He's already got the history, his girlfriend, da-da-da. It's like, as much as I would have loved to still see him continue what he was doing at NXT, I knew he was going to be doomed on SmackDown. And I don't know if you ever heard the plan, what they were going to do with him.
Oh, I heard the plan. They're going to change his name because, God forbid, they have two Coles on the show.
Yeah. And shave his head.
Cut his hair, make him become a manager.
Yeah. I was like, run for the goddamn hills. They could have been paying you $10 million and Tony Khan could have paid you $100,000. I still would have taken it. I still would have gone to Tony, but run.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like how do you take that and just completely bleh. So it's just, there was no question about how do you feel about him being over here. It's like, thank God. Like we dodged a serious bullet. Like, but
sure.
and he looks like he's having more fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
His caliber of matches are the same.
Yeah.
He puts on 5-star matches all the time, no matter who's in the ring with. He's like the second coming of Shawn Michaels. I'll say that right now.
Yeah.
Like it was Dolph Ziggler, but this kid's the second coming of Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. Oh, I totally agree. The nuances, the characteristics, the mannerisms,
the size, the build.
Yeah.
It's very 90s Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
That cocky attitude. Like he's going to be phenomenally huge. And mark my words, he'll be AEW World Champion at least twice.
Hey, listen, I mean, we can call it now. He might be the one to beat Hangman down the road.
Maybe.
I'll call it right now. I'm going to say All Out. Next year.
No. And there's something that they hinted at in that main event match that's making me scratch my head, and I'm really at a loss for what they're going for. But we'll get to that.
You got it. Yeah, so we had Young Bucks and Adam Cole versus Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, and Christian. It was entertaining to me. You know, it was all over the place, falls count anywhere. We saw some pretty good spots. Christian jumping off staircase. You see them fighting on the stage, on and off the stage. So some pretty cool spots there. Jungle Boy gets the win. Basically asks Christian to finish up the match. So Jungle Boy gets the win, pinning Matt Jackson after Matt Jackson takes the concerto, which Christian was about to do, but Christian gave that spot to Jungle Boy, which was awesome.
Yeah, let's remember that concerto for reasons.
Remember
that.
Yeah. Necktie.
I want to touch on that, and it bothered me.
Wow.
Yeah.
We have Necktie Violence. Necktie Violence says, "Hello, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much. It's been a minute. Glad you're on. But please do hit up on that as soon as you're ready. And another match. You know, we talked about it a little bit earlier. You know what? You're right. This match was kind of just there. Pac and Cody versus Black and Andrade. Little bit of build. I get sort of why they were doing the match. You know, you got Cody and Black feuding for a few months now. If they would have kept it a one-on-one match, then I probably would have preferred that. I'm not understanding how Andrade is in the mix. I must have missed something because maybe I missed a Rampage or two.
I'll tell you exactly why Andrade's in the mix. There's one reason why the two of them are teaming together, and it's called Zelina Vega. That's it.
It's true.
That's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing else. They have never crossed paths in AEW for anything other than, hey, we're going to beat these guys up too. And their only link is Zelina Vega.
Yeah.
If Black wasn't married to her, this wouldn't be happening because there would be no like connection. It's like, okay, so you're trying to drive a storyline for something that happened outside the company in another company.
Sure.
And they're allowing Black to carry over his gimmick. It's like, okay, why are you not Tommy End? Why are you still having the messed up eye?
I like how he has the messed up eye because he's selling it. I like how he's selling it because it just would have been so weird, like him showing up on AEW just a few short weeks, and all of a sudden his eye is automatically better.
It was okay for Jake the Snake Roberts' eye to be better once he took off the blindfold after fighting Rick Martel.
Sure.
He didn't get permanently damaged. He just got beat up. That's it. Oh, I'm sorry. Was Rey Mysterio supposed to have an eye hanging out of his socket when Seth Rollins bashed his face into the stairs? So why is Black's eye injury that much worse that it has to carry over multiple companies?
That's true.
It does. No. Stop calling yourself Black. You're Tommy. Everybody in the world knows you're Tommy End. Who's ever seen you before? They called you Tommy End.
WWE said used the name Tommy End when he first debuted on NXT UK.
Yeah, his Instagram handle's Tommy End, or Twitter. His Twitter handle's Tommy End. So it's like, what is this? So it's stupid. It's the teaming between two of them is just a marriage of convenience, all because of Zelina Vega.
It's really the only reason I could think of.
That's it. That's it. They had nothing else tying them together in AEW. No common enemies. No nothing.
I know Andrade's been doing some crossover work with Pinnacle. Pinnacle buying the services of Andrade, what have you. But
yeah,
I really, again, like what we talked about, like I must, other than the common denominator is Zelina Vega, I missed how like Andrade and Black are tagging, but Pac wins with the Black Arrow though. It was decent for what it was. Still, the story wasn't really told. Again, we talked about earlier how there were no recaps of anything explaining these matches. It was just boom, 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 and if you don't know what's going on, you're like, again, why am I watching this? Like, what's the story behind this? So that's where AEW dropped the ball, for sure. But Britt Baker defended her title against Ty Conti for the AEW Women's title. That Ty Conti was featured pretty well here. What do you think?
It was her coming out party. The only thing I didn't like about Ty Conti was she got into the habit of every time there was a near fall, she would do like the I can't believe it face. Like, it's Britt Baker. You shouldn't be shocked that she kicked out of your moves. That's your top woman of the company. You should expect that she's going to kick out of a lot of the stuff that you throw at her. So it's like and a lot of these people do it too. Like every near fall, stop it. Ever since Undertaker did it at WrestleMania 25, it seemed to be like the new super kick. But it was Ty Conti's coming out party, and I'm happy for her. That girl's been putting in the work for the longest time. And she's a legit fighter. So she should have had like a much better positioning such a long time ago. But her problem is she's too goddamn cute. Like, I can't buy you as this like legit badass martial arts fighter with black belts and multiple various ways of fighting. Yeah. But then you're like cute as a button. Like, I can't buy that. It's weird.
I will say, she is actually technically a lower Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu belt than I am. But she will probably beat me pretty good because of her judo experience, black belt.
There you go.
You don't mess with judo fighters because somehow Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is integrated into judo training and takedowns going into arm bars and stuff like that. So she'll probably beat me.
Now,
so she's legit.
Sorry, so exactly. So you're going to be perfect to answer this question because you've got your belt. How much of that did you see in the match?
Not a lot.
But what did they do right before the match?
they basically told you the story of she's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighter and judo.
So where was her jiu-jitsu? Where was her judo in the match? She should have been throwing Britt around like a rag doll, coming out of like nowhere. Britt's like, Ty, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And the next thing you know, she's throwing her all over the ring. And then Britt powders out. It's like, what? Who is this? Where's this been? Because Ty has never done any of that stuff on a consistent basis in her matches. And then you break that out on your title opportunity because the champ now doesn't expect you to be able to do all that because you've never done it before. So now you're throwing them around, bringing out all of your martial arts knowledge. Now the champ is completely like, oh, I don't know what to do now. I wasn't prepared for this. I don't know she could do all that. Because you've just told all the audience, she's a black belt in this. She could do that. And they did nothing with it. It's like, they could have made her look like $1 million.
Yeah.
And then screw her out of the win. And then you've got yourself a good story to go from there. That could take you for a good couple of weeks. And then you can even have, this ongoing segment of Britt trying to learn judo techniques and things like that. And you want to put the money out and you think you can make it happen? You know how to do that? And make it seem like Britt could be a legitimate threat against Ty Conti's judo knowledge? And who would be the perfect trainer if they can make it happen? I'll give you one guess.
I'm drawing a blank.
Ronda Rousey.
Oh, yes.
Put the money out. Get Ronda Rousey to do a couple of guest spots as Britt's judo trainer.
It could work. She's not under contract.
No, she's not under contract. She's had her kid. You don't.
Did she have her kid already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't even need her for an extended period of time. Have her do like maybe like a one-off in front of a live crowd to introduce her as her judo trainer, and then just film a bunch of vignettes training her in Ronda's UFC gym. That way you've got something that you can lead for a couple of weeks. And that makes Ty look that much more badass because you got Britt Baker, top of the food chain in the entire company of the women's division, having to go through all these hoops to be able to keep her belt from this threat. Where all the other opponents, she's like, I'm Britt Baker. I'm going to beat you. Beat you. And that's it. She never went overboard like, I need to figure out how to beat you. Could have made Ty Conti look so much bigger that way. But
and you know what? I mean, I totally agree. And that's a story that they could definitely tell eventually. Not now.
Not having her lose clean.
But we see Britt Baker get the roll up win on Ty Conti. I sort of figured Britt was holding the title here, and she's probably going to hold it well into 2022. I would say at least halfway.
There's nobody nearly as over. Maybe Ruby, but
I think Thunder Rosa is going to be the one eventually.
I can't stand her. I'm just going to say I can't stand her. So annoying. That annoys the hell out of me.
I mean, I don't know who else you put there as the top face right now.
I just gave you a way to build one.
Ty Conti, you go Carl Har. But outside of that, I don't know who else to put.
Build one. You got plenty of time to get to your next pay-per-view or your next Grand Slam. Build one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I had to pick one right now, I couldn't even tell you. Because not one, actually, no, I can. Chris Statlander.
Okay.
Chris Statlander should be the next one that you really push.
Yeah.
She's super over. And she's a phenomenal athlete. Holy moly, she's a phenomenal athlete.
Yeah.
And with her character, you can do a lot with that. You do a lot with between her and Britt being like ultra serious, and then I'm a space alien. So I would put my money on Statlander being the next candidate to be the one to actually take the title.
Yeah, for sure. Punk versus Eddie Kingston. This match started right away with Kingston nailing Punk and knocking him out. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Are they going to have a quick match here? But Punk sold that very well. He gets busted open right away. First 5 minutes when Kingston pushing Punk into the post. Which is about a 15-minute match. I think the match was perfect length.
Yeah.
It didn't need to be any shorter or any longer than what it was. Punk got the win with the GTS. So what are your thoughts on this match? I thought Punk had a decent showing here.
Yeah. I'm over Punk. To be honest with you. Like the whole like CM Punk, yay! I'm over it.
You feel like he's been overexposed a little bit?
It's AEW's fault. Because they just crammed it down everybody's throat. Week in, week out, week in, week out, week in, week out. It wasn't even wrestling. It's like, hey, here's CM Punk, he's gonna talk. Hey, here's CM Punk, he's gonna do commentating all night long. Hey, here's CM Punk, he's gonna wrestle some random dude. Hey, here's CM Punk, he's gonna do more commentating every single week without a break. It's like, okay. Thanks. Like I bought a new car. Doesn't mean I want to travel to California and back in one day. Like,
yeah.
So I'm over the whole CM Punk hype thing. Okay, cool. Whatever. Put him on the back shelf for a minute. Just, but yeah, the match didn't need to be a match. It needed to look like a fight. And that's what it looked like. It looked like a fight, especially with Kingston just backhanding him right out of the gate. Just wham. I was like, I love it. Brilliant. Beautiful. And because of that, CM Punk's getting booed over Eddie Kingston.
I heard it was like a 50-50 crowd.
And more than 50-50. When CM Punk was ground and pounding him, that place was booing. Like Roman Reigns booing. Like just, oh.
The AEW fans, Kingston's over with the crowd right now.
So over. So over. That guy can do no wrong right now. If he is going to be a really good top contender, unfortunately, I don't see him being a world champion. I see him being a hell of a good hand for the TNT or TBS title, whatever the hell they're going to call it. Yeah, that dude is ridiculously over. And thank God he's getting over the way he's getting over now without Moxley, because I was getting really worried that he was only getting over because he was with Moxley.
And that's the thing. And we'll get to this in a moment, but with Hangman Page being a new champion, you want to keep him away from Kingston. Mm-hmm. You want to keep him away from MJF because you want you want Hangman to look good and not be booed. So, they got to be very careful how they choose his opponents, which we'll talk about in a couple moments.
Right. Well, and that's why it's confusing. Why they put almost made me do it. Why they put Bryan Danielson winning the Eliminator? Because you're going to expect your crowd to choose between Page and Danielson? No. Should have been Miro. With or without Perry. You don't even need her. Because then you see the two of them together, your mind starts going into the past.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're not doing that anymore. That's no. So leave her off TV. Or don't even hire her. It doesn't matter. She doesn't need it. She's an actress. She don't need it. Should have been Miro. He should have won. And that way, you have a hell of a great first contender for Page to really have to get through to prove that he is championship material.
Yeah.
But who knows?
I think some people concerned maybe a little bit about the star power. I'm not too sure. Some people brought that up through other podcasts I listened to, that maybe Miro versus Page would lack a little bit of star power for a main event. But it makes sense.
Miro gets a huge reaction.
Yeah.
Huge reaction.
Yeah.
And if you let Miro be Miro, it'll be just fine. But, we're not getting that anyway, so it doesn't matter.
So this was a surprise. We actually had a break during the pay-per-view with Tony Schiavone coming out on the main stage at the ramp and introducing Jay Lethal.
Right?
Finally making it onto a big spot here. It's been 20 years. You haven't seen him on WWE. The best you've seen him is on Impact. Who watches that? I don't have time for it, although I'd like to. But yeah, Jay Lethal comes out calls his shot and challenges Sammy Guevara right away.
Yeah.
So we're getting that match this Wednesday.
I wish you wouldn't have. Because it's like, all right, you're Jay Lethal, but why are you getting this title match?
Exactly. It's almost as like he's jumping the line. But then
not like he is jumping the line.
Yeah. And they're using this forbidden door excuse, open challenge excuse to, make it happen.
Well, it's not even a forbidden door anymore because in reality of it is there's no Ring of Honor anymore. Ring of Honor's gone for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
And as soon as Ring of Honor shut their doors, it's like, okay, Jay Lethal's going to show up in 3, 2. Like that kid was going to sign like that. I guarantee you he had 2 contracts sitting in front of him on his kitchen table. Guarantee it. But it obvious as the day is long where he was going to wind up.
Yeah.
So I'm glad he's there. He deserves it. Kid's phenomenal. I'm biased because he's a Jersey boy. So
yeah, I remember him when he was in Jersey All Pro.
That's right, Jersey All Pro, right?
Yeah,
he was
talking like 2006, 2007.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that kid definitely deserves his spot for sure. But he's gonna be fine.
Yeah,
it's great. It's great he finally got his spot. Oh, let the kid go.
Sammy Guevara will retain his title Wednesday. I do not see that title changing.
100%. They'll put on a phenomenal match.
Yeah,
5-star match. But yeah, Jay Lethal's not gonna.
No, you can't do that right there. That just wouldn't make sense. And why have a ranking system? So if you want to stick with the ranking system, you kind of have to go by the logic a little bit. I'm down for open challenges. That's cool.
There's no ranking system.
But
no, please. The ranking system is about as legitimate as my Olympic gold medals. No.
So let's get to it. The main event. This is the match. Myself and Tommy and whoever's been on our podcast, we've been talking about this for over a year. Anybody can testify to that. We've been calling this ever since Hangman and Omega were tag team title holders. Let's just say that. Since then, we've been calling a split. Omega wins the title. Hangman wins it eventually. We thought this was going to happen at All Out. Being that that's the big pay-per-view, whatever. But with Hangman having the baby, couldn't even wrestle that weekend. He wasn't there. So, and then he was out for a little while for maternity reasons. So that was supposed to be planned for All Out in my estimation, but got bumped to Full Gear, which is fine. But yeah, finally we have a new AEW champion. Hangman finally getting over that hump. Jack, how do you feel about this? I think I'm excited to see how Hangman does here.
I wouldn't say finally. I'm glad that it took that long because it made the win that much more enjoyable for the people that wanted to see that win. I'm not one of them. And I'm not saying I didn't want Hangman to win. I wanted Hangman to be the world champion, but I didn't want Hangman to be the world champion last night. I wanted Hangman to be the world champion Wednesday night, this coming Wednesday night, because they're going to be in Virginia, his home state. It's going to be on not free TV, but it's going to be on cable TV. Got a lot more people watching. Should have waited. I would have been perfectly happy with Hangman getting screwed over. And he just runs amok on Tony Wednesday, open the show, and forces Tony to give him a rematch right then and there. And it doesn't even matter how he gets screwed. Just get screwed some way. And get your match for the main event for that night. Get your world title win in your home state on Dynamite. And then on your live Rampage in Virginia, you can have your championship celebration. Would have been way bigger. Crowd would have lost their friggin' heads. But they decided to do it last night. Okay, fine. Whatever. I'm glad he won it. Kid definitely deserves it. For sure. I hate the fact that the Young Bucks got involved. And it totally ruined the match.
Let's hit that up for a second.
totally ruined the match for me because I want to circle back to the 6-man tag that they had with Jungle Express and Christian. And he got concertoed so goddamn hard on that ramp. And then come the main event, they're just like nothing happened. I'm like, sorry, you just had your head bashed in to the point where you couldn't move. You should be in the hospital with a concussion. So that totally just deflated that the go home for that. And I'm like, all right, why are you here? Because if they interfere, that soils the whole storyline. If they don't interfere, which they didn't, it's why are you here? But then the thing that got me just like, what? Is you see a nod at Hangman right before he gives him the buckshot. So what is this now? You're going to tell me that now you're going to start teasing the breakup of the Elite? For what? Why? That's what your whole company is the nucleus of, is the Elite. So what was the point of that? You're going to turn the Bucks face? Nobody wants the Bucks face. They're terrible face. Awful faces. So that just left me kind of like, whatever. Weird booking for the Young Bucks that night.
They're definitely going to address that on Wednesday night for sure.
Oh yeah. But it just seems weird because they didn't have any kind of other like teases or seeds planted that there's something wrong with the Elite. Everything's been fine. Or at least between the Elite and Kenny. Because when Don Callis started coming around and started doing his whole thing with Kenny, I initially started thinking this might turn into something that's going to splinter Kenny from the Elite. Because Don's getting his hands too far into Kenny. And they're not being, no pun intended, they're not being the Elite. You know, it's more so like Super Click and Kenny. Much like how they're kind of repeating the whole, well, Cody, you're not with us. You're doing this. So we're kicking you out kind of a thing. So I don't know. But I could be completely wrong. But for the match itself, though, those guys put on a phenomenal match. 110% phenomenal match. I'm glad it was a clean match. Really good false finishes. Even though everybody and their mother knew how this match was going to end, which I really hated because they put so much work into this build that no matter what they did, you couldn't convince anybody that Hangman wasn't going to win. And that's why it would have been such a great idea for them to do how I said and screw him over. Because everybody would have been like, holy shit, after all that, still. But no, they put on absolute match that is something to go back and watch and rewatch because it was really, really intense. And those guys, again, just like Miro and Danielson, beat the hell out of each other. It was great. It was like a good raw New Japan match where they're just laying it in. Really meaning it.
So we got Hangman, our new AEW champion. It's going to be interesting to see where they go from him. His next contender is going to be Bryan Danielson. So, I mean, no doubt in my mind we're going to get a great match out of those two guys. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Well, if that's what happens.
Yeah.
If that's what we're going to get.
This is true. I don't think Hangman's going to have a short run here. I think he's going to have this belt for like 6 months or so.
Yeah, he's not going to have a yearly run, I don't think. I'd be surprised if he keeps it until Double or Nothing. But then again, who knows what's going to happen in between now and then.
Yeah.
But I can't think of somebody who would be a big enough of a heel to give Hangman a run for his money. The only person I could say that would be MJF, but MJF would not in any way, shape, or form be able to beat Hangman. Like, it's not believable that he would be able to beat Hangman because he hasn't beaten anybody of notable credibility one-on-one to make you sit and go, oh, like he could do it. You know, he's top heel, absolutely, but he needs to be on that top heel level of like when it was like the Terminator Triple H, where it's like he just beat everybody.
Well, I mean, MJF can rely on his heel antics.
Yeah.
In that way, it's believable because it plays into MJF's character.
But he hasn't done it yet, though. Like,
Correct.
he's cheated, yeah. But he hasn't really done it to anybody of notable cause. Like, yeah, he beat Cody, but okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but yeah, but yeah, for right now, it's going to be Hangman and Danielson, which I think is a mistake. It's going to be a phenomenal match if that's the way they go. I hope to God they don't give it to Danielson. Keep titles off of these people. Keep titles off of WWE people. They just do not need them. Just don't bother. I don't want to see Punk with the title. I don't want to see Danielson with a title. Miro that was another thing, but whatever. Moxley, he doesn't need a title for a long time. You know.
Yeah, Moxley's not going to have that title for at least not next year.
Any title, even the TNT title, TBS title, if they change the name or whatever they're going to call it, just keep titles off the WWE guys, because if you put them on WWE guys, it just makes your AEW homegrown guys look less than, which I can't stand, because how many matches throughout the entire card was just riddled with WWE guys?
Yeah, the whole night. I was talking to my buddy who was with us and who never really watched AEW. I'm like, yeah, Jay, yeah, that guy's from WWE. He was in WWE. He just left from WWE. It was like almost like every single match, including the referee, Aubrey Hepburn result. Yeah.
Two matches were AEW only. Darby Allen and MJF.
Yep.
Well, actually, no, I'm wrong. Ty Conti was in NXT, so one match.
Yeah, she was NXT.
And I'm not counting the buy-in. So yeah, one match was pure AEW guys.
Yeah.
The hell. And one match was all WWE guys with the tag match, House of Black against Cody and Pac.
Yeah,
Daniel Bryan and Miro. So I mean, if you were looking at it through fog-colored glasses, it looked like you were just watching like Vengeance 2016.
Hey, I wonder when we get Buddy Murphy. I would not mind seeing Buddy Murphy versus Malachi Black once again. Like, you can feed me that all day.
But why? Why turn it into SmackDown 3?
That's true.
Stop bringing WWE people.
Oh.
They've got plenty. They can go to Impact.
Yeah.
Bronson Reed, he just debuted in New Japan.
Oh, wow. Did not know that.
Yeah, he just debuted in New Japan. On their American show that they were doing. I think they were doing it over on the West Coast, where he took out Juice Robinson.
Okay.
Plenty of places. Sure, Ring of Honor's out the door now, but Impact in New Japan.
Yeah.
Impact will take people. They got money. Sinclair's got money. Go there. Look at the Iconics. He's doing phenomenal now.
Yeah.
Same thing. Eric Young. He got his spot back. Thank God.
Oh, by the way, I'm wearing a retro. Remember that logo?
Brooklyn Nets. Get out of here.
Oh, boy.
But yeah, stop bringing WWE people. Concentrate on your AEW guys. Concentrate on who you're seeing on Dark, Elevation, maybe Rampage, but that's still really riddled with a lot of WWE guys too.
Yeah.
Push them guys up. You don't need to focus on the WWE guys to bring your crowd. Have them be your curtain jerk matches. Have them be your mid-card matches to keep the crowd lively. Push. And they did a great example of that for Full Gear. Page and Omega. AEW guys never touched WWE.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Keep it that way.
Yeah. And you got Sammy Guevara, who's your TNT title holder.
Exactly. Keep that way with your TNT title.
Yeah.
Keep it with Sammy. Keep it away from WWE people. I don't care if they were in there for a year, 6 months. If they were a notable WWE person, keep it far away from them. WWE people do not need these belts.
one last question for you before you go. Do you feel that AEW's roster is too crowded, for lack of a better word?
Oh my God, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Over 100 people. I think it can be like 120 people for 3 hours of television time.
Yeah.
WWE has less than 100 people for 7 hours of television time. So yes, AEW is definitely overinflated. And when I say 3 hours of television time, I don't count Dark and I don't count Elevation. That's YouTube. You've only got 2 hours of Dynamite, 1 hour Rampage. You've got 3 hours of TV time, and that's where these people really make their name. And you've got over 120 people on your roster. And the same people are getting cycled each and every episode. Like,
yeah.
Oh, awful. No. Trim the goddamn fat. If you're not going to use these independent kids, let them go. Send them off. Or stop using WWE people.
Yeah.
Just stop hiring them. Stop it. You don't need them.
Yeah.
Like, there was no reason why I could probably say half of the people that were hired from WWE are in that company. None. CM Punk, of course, CM Punk.
Yeah. He was never going about WWE.
Yeah. Aleister Black didn't need him.
Yeah.
WWE would have rehired him back. They were already considering hiring him back. No point to hire him. Miro, same thing. Didn't need him. What's he doing? Really, like he's not going to be a huge merchandise seller. He's not going to be anything other than I love Miro.
He's getting a lot of TV time at least.
He is, but he's two-dimensional. He's two-dimensional. It's the same type of promo. It's the same type of match. It's very two-dimensional.
Yeah.
Moxley's Moxley. He'll get over no matter what. But yeah, they're definitely overinflated. They need to stop hiring people now. But now with Ring of Honor going away, they're just going to keep on, bringing them in. And nobody's either going to have a spot at all, or they're going to have a 2-minute match. Or they're going to make a third YouTube show that nobody's going to watch or want to see when they get to the arena because they're too busy standing on a 2-hour-long line for a T-shirt. Because that's how it was when I was at Newark. Nobody was in the arena watching Dark. Everybody was outside getting merchandise. It's a waste.
Dark was being at All Out weekend. Dark was squash after squash after squash match. Like I was like, enough already. Like especially when they had the show on a Friday night. They aired live Friday night for Rampage. So we get there 2 hours early. The show starts 2 hours early, maybe 2.5 hours early. It's 2.5 hours of nonstop squash matches, and then you get the 1 hour of Rampage.
Yep. It's like what are we doing here?
Oh, it was horrible.
Just a reason to cycle people out the curtain so they can just, hey, here's this person. Hey, you might as well have just said, hey, here's Thunder Rosa, and then just put her right back into the dressing room. Don't even have the match.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they did. It was just a waste of people's times and a waste of these wrestlers' times. Because I hope to God their contracts are not exclusive contracts. I hope to God.
I don't think a lot of them are. I think some of these I don't know for sure, but I think some of these contracts are per appearance.
I hope so. I really do.
Yeah.
If they are,
so much talent.
If they are, those kids are getting screwed over just as hard as Ty Valkyrie's getting screwed over.
Yeah. Well, that pretty much covers our whole review of AEW Full Gear.
Yeah. AEW Richard Gere live on pay-per-view.
Tommy and Gage, I'm sure, will be back this week with episode 76 to give their take on AEW Full Gear. But this is the official post show. For those of you guys that are watching, make sure you share it with your friends. Jack, thank you so much for hopping on, man. This has been a great hour just to shoot the breeze, catch up, and talk about AEW major pay-per-view. Yeah. So thank you so much. And
my pleasure. Thank you.
For those of you guys that are watching, we will be back I'll be back in a couple of weeks. Tommy and Gage will be holding down the fort for a short while longer as I get situated in my new crib over here. This was kind of like the test run. Thankfully, we didn't have any internet issues, which is awesome. So that was my big concern. But I should be back very soon on the Deep Six Pro Wrestling podcast. I would say no later than episode 80. But Tommy and Gage will be holding down for a couple weeks. And we will be back with you guys very soon. So you guys watching, thank you so much. Jack, thank you so much for hopping on, and you all have a good night.
Absolutely. Take care.